Welcome back to another episode of the No Name Podcast, powered by IAmHipHop in collaboration with High Creativity Ltd. You're with the one and only Jay, Uncle Juju St. Paul, and we have the one, the only, and I always say this, especially to guests because they are the one and the only, TrueMendous in the building. How you doing, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you? Thank you for having me here today.
No, thank you very much for taking the time out with us today. So we got a few bits I want to touch on, but as I do with most people, especially if I've never had the chance to interview them, because I'd like to get to know you. Mm-hmm. What was life growing up for the young TrueMendous? What was kind of like your influences? What was just your general upbringing like?
Yeah, to be fair, born in Birmingham, growing up musically, as I said before, it's R&B that I listen to more so than any other genre. And just growing up, but rap wise, I was still listening to like Outkast, still listening to Lauryn Hill, someone that had something to say outside of materialism. I've never really been into that style or format or subject matter of rap too heavy. And I also think growing up, I didn't really understand rap music like that neither. I think R&B was a lot easier for me to digest at that age as well, because I understood what they were saying, and I think I just appreciated the songwriting element of it more as well. But in general, just growing up was cool, man. Not too hard, not too easy.
And what was like sort of family upbringing and those bits?
Yeah, well, family upbringing, lived with my mom. I've always known my dad. I hang out with my dad like once a week. Literally the area I live in Birmingham, all my immediate family live within a 10-minute walk. I don't know if that was strategically planned. Yeah, like my uncle lives up there, my auntie lives there, my other auntie lives there, my cousin lives there. Like, it's a bit weird still, but yeah, man, can't complain. But everyone's good, man. We've always been relatively close overall, so yeah, man.
That's dope. So you've obviously had family literally at arm's length and arm's reach, but if that is strategically placed, as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. So they've obviously successfully ticked those boxes completely. So what I find quite interesting is that you mentioned that a lot of your influences come from more on the R&B side of things. So what made you decide to go more in the sense of the lyrical, as in more of the rapping route than it would be to more of the R&B route?
I think it's because I'm not a singer like that. Like, I know I can't sing. I can speak in rhythm, but I can't sing. So I had to, okay, what's the next, what can I do then that still involves my voice being used, but obviously I can't really hold a note like that. So I was like, okay, rap. And then I think I just came across certain rappers that I was able to digest. Like, funny enough, one of the earliest rappers I used to listen to, not growing up in the sense of like, everyone's got a story like, from when I was 6, when I was 8. I never listened to rap music really at that age. It wasn't really until secondary school that I kind of got into rap a bit more. But Papoose was actually one of the first people I started listening to, weirdly enough. I don't think it's weird. I don't know if weird's the right word, but it's just an uncommon answer. But I think I came across some of his old videos, old videos, and there was just something about him that stood out to me when I listened to him. So I used to like print off his lyrics and just analyze. I think it might have been Alphabetical Slaughter or something that I heard first. But I just appreciated the way he wrote. And he was one of the first people that I actually thoroughly listened to. So I used to always print off in school. Instead of doing my work, I used to just print off his lyrics. And I usually just go through and analyze and dissect his lyrics. Same with Immortal Technique. Immortal Technique was one of the first ones as well. Big L, Canvas, he was like Biggie as well. But Papoose, really, if I think now, he was actually probably one of the first ones I thoroughly like started listening to. It's a bit very uncommon. I don't know how I came across that video.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely uncommon in so many senses, and actually does now explain why you pay so much attention, I think I should say, to lyrical detail, because when listening to you you have a lyrical prowess that isn't very regularly heard, especially in hip-hop, as we, if you in hip-hop we get mainstream, I suppose, but the fact is that you went from Papoose to Immortal Technique, Big L, you mentioned Biggie as well. Yeah. And all of these people are literally lyrical geniuses, especially Big L. Papoose is when I was, because I've come up, listening to hip hop, and like yourself, eclectic taste and, R&B and funk and jazz. So, but Papoose and definitely Immortal Technique. more especially with the stories. The storytelling was literally insane. So like you said, you realized you couldn't sing or hold a note. Same here, I'm not gonna lie. Guilty as charged.
Just talk in rhythm.
Just talking rhythm. I could talk rhythmically. That's the best I could do. So when was it that you when was it that you realized that, yeah, do you know what, this is me and this is what I want to do? So, you know, how you wrote your first rhyme. And
yeah, to be fair, for a while I didn't ever want to pursue music like that. I think in the early stages in secondary school, it was that period of time where everyone was an MC in it. So it's MySpace days, everyone was an MC, so I just jumped on the bandwagon. Go on YouTube, type in instrumentals. It wasn't even type beats. You type in, you just put instrumental, and then just kind of come across different ones, and then I just start writing. Some of my old ones would be like, because remember, also age wise, I'm in my 20s now, so I'm not necessarily gonna have the same. Do you know what I mean? I haven't always been into, you know what I mean? It's a different kind of age group as well. So in that period of time, I was listening to like Destiny's Child beats and other beats. So it wasn't even necessarily rap beats neither. And I would just write raps over them. But it was more so the melodic beats that I preferred, as opposed to like some raw, older hip hop or like boom bap type beats. It was more, I like rhythm, I like melody. So it was more the softer kind of production that I would go over. And I went to Pound and I purchased a little Pound mic. And then I had Audacity on my computer. So then I connect the Pound and mic to go on Audacity on my computer, and I used to record like songs on it. So like actual verse, hook, sometimes bridge, and then with the hook, like proper formulated songs. And then, but obviously because it's a cheap mic and that, behind the lyrics is just but obviously you have to make it happen. You still make it work. And then I used to just upload it onto my MySpace, and then just put it up there over and over again. And then over time, it never ever popped off. Even up to now, it's probably got like 1,000 plays. But you know, that was initially the start of it. But it was just from people in my school, just everyone just being an MC and jumping on it. But these times, everyone was on like grime. No one in my school even really was doing hip hop. It was just grime. But it wasn't one, I wasn't really a fan of the tempo of it, and two, my stuff was a bit more intricate and a bit more well thought out of than my peers is at the time. But it wasn't a conscious thing I did, it just came out like that. And then because naturally I like the more melodic type of beats as well, I didn't fit in with their sound that they were coming with as well. I still can appreciate it, it's just not something that I gravitate towards, though if I wanted to do it I could. It's just I don't enjoy it. So that's kind of why even up to now, I don't really do grime too tough, but every now and then I might, jump on something that has a few elements of it. But like, I like the melodic stuff, man. It's more my thing. Like, and I also want to pursue something I enjoy doing. I don't want to do just to prove I can do it. But sometimes when people think I can't do it, I just do it just to say I can. But for the most part, if it's melodic and nice and I feel it, like, I'll do it. But yeah, so to answer your question, long story short, I jumped on the bandwagon and just did it a bit different to my peers, really.
Okay, well, it definitely comes across with that, because that was going to be leading into my next question, because you mentioned the melodics, which you can definitely hear, but because I'm in my 30s, so I've got like a whole decade ahead. So I've grown up with the your Pete Rocks, your CL Smooths, your EPMDs. And the fact is that you have a real eclectic taste in the sense of the beats that you select, like with your recent track, Worst Child, and also, where were we as well? So you had Worst Child as well as Why, and You Don't Know. So there's like a lot of jazz, kind of like jazz influences to it. And then there's even you had a track that has kind of like a rock kind of feel. So so obviously you've touched on your melodics, but what was the thought process or the process into saying, I want this particular sound to deliver this particular message? How do you marry them up with the bars that you're writing, or do you have the track already before you write the lyrics to them?
For the most part I usually have the lyrics already, and and then I just filter through beats that people send me. So with all the singles that come out this year so far from the album, so obviously with this body of work, I needed to separate from previous bodies of work. So I need to do something that I haven't done yet. Do you know what I mean? So I think versatility wise, though, I think over the past few years, I've been pretty versatile. I want to take it up a notch, and I want to be so far left with this and then so far right with that. So it was kind of me just thinking outside the box as to how I'm going to do that. So I was like, okay, what don't I really do? Like hip hop, have a bit of electric guitar and that, make it a bit more rock. No, that one, let me really do jazz. Let me get friends play saxophone and do that. Do you know what I mean? So, but then, and sometimes with the beats people send me, they already have like samples on. So then it could also have a sample that I never would have thought of. But because the sample's already on it, then my mindset on it changes. And I'm like, then I adapt to that. So it kind of depends how it comes in. It's not really a set thing, but for the most part, I'll already have the song written. So I know what kind of mood I'm going for in the production. But then sometimes I already have beats sent to me, and then I'll write to that with that beat in mind. So it's not really an either or, it just kind of comes how it comes, really. But with those ones, Worst Child and Why are produced by the same producer, which is Ill Informed, and he sent me both of them with a saxophone in, not the one you hear on it, but with a saxophone in it, sample in it already. And then the other beat was like that already, but they were sent as like loops, like just template, just loops. And then when I was listening to it, I thought, okay, concept-wise, I could do the whole lovey-dovey thing on it, so I might just extract lyrics that I've already got and then create a new hook and then do this. And it formulates in different ways. But with that one, then I got Soweto Kinch. Shout out to Soweto. I reached out to him to replay the sample that was in Worst Child. So that's who's actually playing the saxophone in Worst Child. Yeah, it's not an actual sample. It's him playing it. And then when I was listening to it, I was thinking of vocalists, because I could have done the hook myself, and I know how to use my voice underneath my mains to make it sound like I'm singing, you know, when I say talking in rhythm.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, now I want a complete different voice to differentiate from mine in this. So obviously, because I'm from Brum and I know the vocalists up here, I was thinking whose voice would work best here. And then I thought Roz, and there was another guy as well called Jason, who would have done a really good job as well. But then I was thinking, nah, I want a woman's voice on this. So yeah, I reached out to Roz with the template, and my lyrics were already on it, and then it just had the gaps for the hook. And then I sent it to her, and she was like, yeah, I love it. I was like, I just need you to write a hook for it. Like, just listen to the lyrics and whatever. Because with singers and stuff, I want you to think of your own stuff. For the most part, I usually write the lyric and then give it to the singer. But I think nowadays, now I want, what do you think should go here as a hook? So I just gave her the free will to just write whatever she wants, whatever comes to mind. Just listen to it and then just show me what come to your mind. So yeah, she just WhatsApped me the hook that you hear now. Like, we tweaked to the last line of it, but she literally just WhatsApped me that, and I loved it. And then I was like, that's the one. So went studio, and then got it down, sent all our vocal stems back to Ill Informed. He put Soweto's saxophone in it, obviously fixed up the beat because it was just a template at the time, and then boom, then you had Worst Child. But that was all from me already having the lyrics, and then me just picking that beat from the folder that I had, and then swapping out the sample for an actual real saxophone played by someone I know, getting her on the hook, and then you had the end result. But it's not really, I don't really go into it thinking, you know, I want the beat ready first and then I'm going to do this. It just comes how it comes. It's not really pre-planned like that. So it's not, I don't really have a generic, answer for it. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. You got a gift for real. I like the way you're, and it's also hearing the way that you speak about it. You can see how much is like, it's not even so much a process. It's just the fact of knowing your craft and your skill. And as being a creative myself, I completely get and understand that. So, but even touching on to Worst Child, because you actually got your first play on BBC Radio 1, and with the Future Artist. So, yo, how did that feel? How, what was it feel like now actually having been played on the infamous Radio 1, reaching them airwaves? I see you and Fire in the booth. One extra business there.
That's me. Yeah, shout out to 10 Letter for landing that place. When I was 10 Letter, they're working on PR for the project. You know what it is? Because I'm not really into radio, and on top of that, I'm not from London. I'm not in a hub of music. I'm not really used to the process of like a rollout of a project. And obviously prior to High Focus, I've always been independent, so I don't do this. I don't look out for playlists. I don't look to go on radio. I just put the. Can you curse on this?
Yeah, okay. You good?
Can you curse on this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Go for the fire away. Yeah. By
Oh,
all means, sorry. Yeah, go.
oh, I don't really think thoroughly of how to put the shit out. I just create a project, create a couple videos, and just fling it out on whatever distribution source I'm on, and I'm just on to the next one. I don't really thoroughly think of, you know, the outroll of things. So since signing to High Focus and seeing that there's more, especially with 10 letter, there's an actual structure to how to do it. And even with radio, I don't listen to radio like that. So though I'm aware of like Radio 1 and BBC Extra, and I know there's tiers to it as well, I feel like I still don't really understand how big a radio station is because I'm not into radio like that. I don't follow it like that. So when there was our radio, I was like, and I was thinking to myself, I'm sure Radio 1's a big one, you know. I think it's a big one, so I'm not sure.
Only the nations.
Yeah. So that's why sometimes things, it's not that I'm being ungrateful for certain things by my reaction. I genuinely just don't know because I don't follow it like that. But then afterwards, I was like, oh, and then I told Roz, and she was like, Radio 1, Mary. I was like, oh, yeah, Radio 1. I don't know. But I think it's just because I've been on the outskirts and I'm not really into like the business side of things and the rollout of things. I don't really know certain things that you would have thought I did. But I was really grateful for that, and he's played it, a couple of times. And you know, there's a bunch of other stations that I played Welsh Child as well. Out of the singles we've done so far, Welsh Child actually did the best in regards to like radio and stuff and playlists and stuff. So I'm really happy for that as well. But yeah, man, like at the same time, a part of me, it's not that I expect it, because I don't expect anything, but I'm also aware of how good the project is. So for it to not land anything would be very surprising to me at the same time. So I think it's also just an element of we should be on Radio 1. Do you know what I mean? Like I see it as we should have. I'm grateful for it, but we should have. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's that as well. But I'm just really grateful, that people are really, gravitating towards the stuff we're putting out, and it's hitting different audiences as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear that completely. I guess it's it just goes to show like how much generations is, because for once again, like in comparison for us, like I grew up on things like Tim Westwood, Choice FM, Kiss FM, when they're pirate radio stations. Now they're obviously being syndicated, but we understood the importance of radio and how it works, because that's what you usually whip into. But now we're into iPhone generation and smartphone generation, so you just stick on your Spotify playlist, so you probably get more of a hype to be on like the top 10 Spotify rotation than some people will feel about radio. But I think most people forget is like the actual power of it. But also I think what's quite interesting, if you don't mind me saying, is just that the fact is that you haven't been so concerned about that has actually helped you focus on your craft, and the fact now you've actually got a team behind you. I'm just expecting more great content when it kind of comes out to it, because you said you've also mentioned on Higher Focus, that's kind of a recent thing. So what was that? Were you a Higher Focus when your 2017 album dropped, P.S. This Is Your Mother Calling? Because I went all the way back to that, and those tracks, especially your 7-minute bangers where you have your two, the two contrasting kind of beats where it literally goes from one into the other. How did that project just come about?
Yeah, to be fair, I signed to High Focus has only been from last year. So like 2020, at the end of 2019, I signed with them, but they announced it last year. So the only project I put out on High Focus prior to the one coming out next week is Her, which was my 2020 EP. Yeah. So everything that's come out prior to that was all independent. And that literally is just from people I know in Birmingham, like features and producers that I know from Birmingham. And it was just created from our minds. Like, the beats are created by the producers up there. And then even with them, but then again, actually, I had more input with the beats then as well, actually, because I think with my older projects, I did say the kind of style I want. Like, I kind of want it like such and such, such and such. And then, they just matched me, my thoughts with their, production skills. And then obviously these times, I think I did write to the beat more as well. And I just kind of work out what I want to go together and what I want as singular tracks, and that's it. Like, I don't really, again, it's not really a cliche answer to it. Like, it just forms how it forms. But with creatives, I could explain something to you and how you hear it is completely different to what I had in mind, but it still works. Do you know what I mean? So, but all the projects I've done prior to last year's one was all just independent through majority Birmingham artists and Birmingham producers and Birmingham singers and Birmingham rappers and myself just coming together and just creating like content and then just executing it through my projects really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, so trying to, I suppose, digging a little bit deeper, because you already, like you said, you have most of it forms how it forms, or you already might have the lyrics there. So what drives your inspiration, or what the things is that you want to write about? Because it's quite a lot of the stuff you write about is very, very relatable to a lot of people.
Yeah.
What inspires you to go that route? Or is it just because it's easier to talk from things that you know or the experiences you've seen?
Yeah, it is a lot easier, and I think it's just always been to the forefront in my mind since I started doing music. It's always just been relatable subject matters, so family dynamic, relationship dynamic, and so it'd be from like content, not always necessarily what I go through, but what my friend could go through, what I heard in a documentary, what I saw in a YouTuber story time, what I saw in a film. Do you know what I mean? They just kind of extract information from all pieces and just formulate it via song and then just narrate it to the public. That's literally, I'm just like it's like an audio book in rhythm. You know what I mean? But I just extract it from different sources and then that's it really. But I think relatable is the way forward, to be fair. And it's just always been a style that I've favored. So I've just ran with it and it's always been something that I've just held to the forefront and people seem to like it for the most part. So I just never really thought of changing it really. You know what I mean?
No, don't change. No, please don't change.
just money is going to be my next topic now. Forever. Next project, start to finish. Money.
Well, funny enough, if you put your own relatable twist onto it, could potentially work. Talk about them Bitcoins and them NFTs. That's what I'm saying, man. Educate people. Educate them peoples, you know. So and if anything, that's if you do go that route, high creativity, just in the credits, just somewhere, you know, just say it. Oh, that's dope. So so now talking about your latest album, Misdiagnosis of Chyvonne Johnson. Now for me, because I once again show my age, that you just on the cover, from the cover that I've seen that you've kind of put together, and also you play a lot on the kind of psycho ward victim in quite a few of your last videos as well, which is very kind of Redman and kind of Busta Rhymes to me, at least visually, when it kind of comes to that. So when I was looking to that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can relate to this very closely. So what can we expect from, from the Misdiagnosis of Chyvonne Johnson?
Yeah. So with the album, which is Misdiagnosis of Chyvonne Johnson, so the title pays homage to Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which is my favorite album. But then it also the double meaning of the title is also and the character, which ties in with the character that you see that's always in like the hospital gown and stuff. It's kind of like my enjoyment of music always being the thing that causes me to lose my mind. So that's kind of what the character is. It's like me labeling myself as crazy before everyone else does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's kind of it behind that character. What was the question you just asked me, sorry?
It's just what can we expect from the album, from the project and the album? I want to get into the videos in a minute as well.
Yeah. It's very diverse, to be fair. It's very, very, very diverse. You got hip hop, you got R&B, you got poetry, you got pop, you got jazz, soul. There's so many different genres in it. And in regards to myself as well, just pattern wise, you got double time, you got simplified. There's a lot of different subject matters within it as well. So toxic family dynamic, relationships, sexuality. There's loads of different subject matters in it. So it's a very relatable project. And that goes hand in hand with the diversity of the production as well. And on top of that, not everything's deep in it. Some of the stuff's just quirky, double time, humor here and there. It's balanced. But I think for this body of work, like it's just a solid body of work in my personal opinion, and it's just very inclusive of a bunch of different things. There's so many different elements in it, so I just feel like it just deserves. I just wanted to get the recognition it deserves, from a good amount of people, because I'm just really happy, and shout out to everyone that was involved in it as well, because it's like 7 or 8 producers on it, and then like 5 or 6 features on it as well. Master Ace is one of the features on it as well.
What?
So, yeah, so it's nice to get international collab on it as well. So Yeah, but the versatility aspect of it, and just the range, the artistry element of it as well, like I think is high. So yeah, man.
Yeah, you can't skim over that Master Ace. How did that happen? Sorry. Sorry, no, not doing it. No, you're not just gonna happily skip over that. Oh no, and Master Ace. No, sorry. I know how. Go on. So break that down. How did that come about?
Yeah, to be fair, we've had each other on. I think he was one of my managers actually knows him, and I think he might have just sent him. I don't know if he sent it him or if he just came across it. Just one of my older songs on YouTube, Only Time You Love, and I think he just saw it, and then I don't know, like just had each other on. All of a sudden, we had each other on Twitter. I follow him, he follows me, but we never really spoke like that. But then when I reached out to him, no, I'm lying. So I think either my manager sent him it or he saw it. Long story short, he saw one of the videos, and then fast forward, we have each other on Twitter. And I think when I went to release like one of my newest singles, say a couple of years ago, whatever, I DM'd him the link to it because I wanted him to check it out. And then he was like, oh yeah, and then I sent him like a link to like maybe like a couple older ones, and that's when he said, oh yeah, I've seen this one already, which is how I knew he saw the older one. So I was like, okay, that's why, you know, you could probably know how, like, you're aware of me. And then I was like, okay, cool. So then after that, like, that was like kind of an opening conversation for us. And I just think throughout the period of time, I think every now and then just message each other, just saying, oh, how are you? I'm good. I hope you are. And then with this project, it's on a song called Emmett Till, which is like a police brutality song. And then just hearing it, I just wanted, you know, a feature from someone who I felt could deliver a very important verse, but I think not UK based. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to be from somewhere else. I thought, I wonder. So I reached out to him. I explained the concept. Obviously, there was availability and that. Like, obviously, if you're working on a project and that, I know how it is when you're working on something and someone reaches out with something that, because you have to be in that mindset to do another feature that's nothing to do with your work and and I'll just explain the concept to him, the idea, the direction I wanted to take it in, and he was like, yeah, like I'm down to do it. And he's like, he just wanted to work on something with me. So yeah, I just sent him the song. He liked it. He wrote a verse for it, and then that was it still. And then boom, now he's on the project.
Right, gas. I'm fully vested now. Fully vested into this project. Well, I'm not saying I wasn't beforehand, but now definitely I can't wait to listen to that. And also the subject matter of Emmett Till is definitely touched through as well. You should check out an artist called Lack. We interviewed him last week. Actually, he did a collaboration album called Wolves with Capone. So he does like smart hip hop. So it's education through hip hop kind of basis. But yeah, so I'd definitely say if you do get a moment, check out his stuff. And yeah, so videos. So it seems that the vid hasn't stopped you. Seems to you know, you guys keeping distances and doing all that, you know, doing what the nation requires you to do and all of that good stuff. Yeah. Oh, well, hey, look, don't make me have to censor and bleep things out. Let's keep. We were doing so well. But on a real, I know, but on a real for us. So what was the how did the concepts of the videos kind of come together? Because even like one of them, which I do like, I think it was Only Time to Love. Is it part two? The one where you mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Yeah. So because even you mentioned the Yu-Gi-Oh bit, so you can, you know, there's a lot of things I can relate to as a geek myself, or a geek, whatever way you want to look at it. So, but anyways, concept videos. How do you put them together?
Yeah, to be fair, all the recent videos that we shot, especially the ones that are coming out this year, I actually shot them before lockdown. Like, I like staying ahead. I like staying ahead of myself. So I'm always like 6 to 8 months ahead of myself. So all the videos you're seeing now, I've had these videos ages ago. It's not like we just did them now. But in general, yeah, I just kind of meet the videographers halfway. I kind of come in with a template in my head of what I want it to look like. But with some of the videographers, location-wise, because I'm situated in London now, but because I'm not really aware of locations and stuff, they need to think of like the places and stuff. But sometimes in regards to actual concepts, I'll come with the concept, and then collectively we execute it together, and they'll match some ideas with me, and then I'll bounce off of them, they bounce off of me, and then we kind of, you know what I mean, just go through it that way. The Only Time You Love Part 2, that was with Oliver. And yeah, Oliver's really creative, and he loves doing like effects and stuff on his through his edits and stuff. So again, we just bounce off each other really well, create a treatment. He'll put a few things, I'll put a few things, we'll tweak it, and then we just execute it really. But it's a collective effort. But for the most part, I do come in with it with the initial idea of, obviously it's my song, so I know what direction I want to take it. I don't think I've ever come in and given a creator, a videographer, like full creative control of it. However, saying that, there was one song, this never came out, there was one song that I did give full creative control to a different company to execute, and I didn't like it. So hence why it didn't come out. But that also showed me as well to never do that again. But and prior to that, I never did it anyway. So it's also good to go through it to learn what you don't want to do again. You know what I mean? It's not discredit to them. It just didn't work. It just wasn't a thing I had for it. But I think because it wasn't a song really that I wanted a video, I cared so much for a video for, it was kind of, would have just been like a filler, because I think I hadn't put out a video in like a good few months or so. So it was kind of just to have something out. But giving them the creative direction of it, I would rather not put it out than put it out and not like it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, in general with videographers, we kind of just, I come in with the initial idea, but then we bounce off each other and then just make it happen really. But the videographers I use are quite creative mentally as well, because there are some videographers that don't have ideas and they'll just come, you know, camera in their hand and just, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not really a fan of them. That's why I always have to check out previous content to know beforehand, like, if it's a videographer that I can kind of work with. So yeah, so shout out to all the videographers, you know, that we've been using as well. But a lot of them are connected to the label anyway, so I knew they'd all do it justice. So yeah.
No, because it's dope. Because like you said, so because obviously with the your crazy side when it comes to your passion of music, like I said, very relatable when it kind of comes to it, especially being a DJ and such myself. So so well, what else are we expecting from you? What have you got? Obviously you got now on the promotion and the rollouts of your, you know, with the misdiagnosis of Chyvonne Johnson. I mean, we know that we're in this real crazy times verbatim, but what are the potential plans of what we're looking to do going forward? Are we looking, you know, shows? You know, you said you're situated in London now, correct? Yeah,
by Stratford East. We kind of just playing it by ear, to be fair. I can't really say too much because don't know what's gonna happen. Do you know what I mean? But so far we got a few more videos, you know, that we're gonna put out. Next one will be out next week actually, and got a few more after that. And in regards, as soon as lockdown lifts, we are looking to potentially have like a launch or just a nice little show to celebrate the release of that album, and in general just for performances to pick up and that. But as I said, we're just playing it by ear, so we can't really say, you know, what's gonna happen on that. But as soon as we're free, you'll see me everywhere.
All right, cool, boy. When you do that launch show, you better be inviting us lot so I can come down and give you a live interview as well, man. For real, go chop it up. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the No Name Podcast. Thank you so very much, TrueMendous, for joining us today. Make sure you guys check out Worst Child. It's available on Spotify and Y as well, and it's also on all other streaming platforms. You everywhere, like everybody?
Yeah. It should be everywhere still.
Dope. And the 1st of April is when we've got the drop of the Misdiagnosis of Chyvonne Johnson, the 17-track project. So you want to pre-order it? Go pre-order it now. Support the cause. Support it. Don't hear it much. But yeah, no,
have you pre-ordered it?
Have I pre-ordered it? I'm not going to give you my financial situations. I'd love to. What do you mean? Look, right now, I'm also the one giving you free promo at the moment. I ain't getting paid for this. Like.
Don't change the subject.
I'll be the ones getting your stream numbers up, though. So don't think. Look, no, I'm getting you. I'm getting one. All right, you got boss. Look. I ain't gonna front to no one. Look, I ain't gonna say to everybody this is the life of a struggling creative. Now I get it completely, but I will be still giving you radio spins. And if you send me your whole whatever catalog of music, I'll be playing all of your stuff because that's the best way that I can do as well, man. For real. But no, thank you so much for your time. An absolute lovely person. Nah, for real. But I'm definitely looking forward to what else you got going forward, man. And I wish you nothing but the best and success. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, man.
Peace, love, and all that good stuff. All right, one.